Just some good news about the Messenger Hope Mission podcast. We are on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, and soon to be YouTube Podcast. Check us out, follow us, and share us with your friends.
You're listening to the Messengers of Hope Mission podcast with your host, Bob Gardner.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Glistening Glass. Glistening Glass is my company and is a residential window washing and gutter cleaning company. We service the northern Hillsborough and southwest Pasco County area. If you're interested in having your home windows or gutters cleaned, now is the time to call. 813-404-2300. That's Glistening Glass. Today is Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2024. Amazing day. I hope you're having a great Valentine's Day. And if you don't have a Valentine, that's okay. It's okay to just enjoy the day as is. Or you know what? Go out, watch a movie, spend some time on your own, do some self-love today, and that would be a great thing as well. So I hope that you enjoy today, no matter where you are or who you are with. This, of course, is Wednesday, and it has been a roller coaster of a week already for Messengers of Hope. We started Sunday hitting the ground running, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today, something that happened on Sunday. But we had a lot of work going on at our warehouse on Monday and even Tuesday this week, and it's been a busy week, and this upcoming weekend looks to be another busy weekend. Now, one of the things that we had going on Monday is the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts did a food drive for Messenger Hope, and I do plan on sharing about that. I'm trying to get some people lined up for an interview, but that will be next week's episode. So make sure you tune in next week to hear about that. That's going to be really amazing. This week, however, I'm going to talk about stuff that happened Sunday. So we did not have the food pantry on Sunday, although some people did show up and we gave them food. You know, we're happy to do that when we're there, and it's out of our scheduled time. So we did do that. But Sunday, we had a workday scheduled. We had a church reach out to us that wanted to do a work day on a Sunday, and that's mainly what I'm going to be talking about today, but I'm also going to be talking about some of the other people that showed up. So we had this work day scheduled for Sunday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and at 9 a.m. we had some of the Cub Scouts show up, and some Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts show up from the local troop Cub Scout Pack 7 and Boy Scout Troop 77, and I believe they're both in Newport Richey Trinity area of Florida. And so they showed up and they were doing work, and we were basically sorting all the stuff that we had left, stuff that was going to go out to people that we were giving away, food and items, toiletries, things of that nature. And we went through all this stuff and sorted it. It took hours. We had pallets and pallets and pallets. I think we went through 6 or 7 pallets, and we had 4 more pallets to go after we were done. But they got there about 9 a.m. and we started working. We hit the ground running, working on this really hard. And it was an amazing day. So the people that came were working really hard. We had other people there working in the warehouse, and we were going through all of this stuff. We had a couple people come and volunteer because this lady had contacted me. Her daughter needed community service hours for school, and we were happy to provide that. And of course, it worked out that day that they could come as well. And then roughly 10:30, this church that I want to talk about showed up. Now, this church is called Resonate Church. They're a Wesleyan church in Land O'Lakes, Florida, right on State Route 54. If you're interested in that church, you can check them out. Now, what makes this so interesting is they were doing this on a Sunday that they typically have service. So they had contacted me, and they said that they were doing a service day. So they were meeting at their church at 10 a.m., and then they were going to have a praise and worship time for about a half hour. And at 10:30, they were going to leave and go to local organizations and volunteer. And I thought that was pretty amazing that they were going to do that. So at, of course, 10:45, they showed up to work, and they showed up in numbers. I think there was about 20 to 25 of them, maybe even more. And work they did. They worked really hard. But that's not even the interesting part. The interesting part was that they gave up their service time to do this. Their service, meaning their church service time, to come and serve other people. And that was really amazing. Now, I had shared that story that they were going to be doing this with about 20 people last week, just telling them that because I found that to be very refreshing and interesting that a church was willing to do that. And so they came out and they did that. But as I said, I shared that with a bunch of different people. And as I shared that, I had no less than 4 people say something very similar to me. These people were not connected with each other. They didn't know that I was telling other people this. This is just a conversation I was having. And 4 different people said to me something along this line. That is the type of church that I would like to attend. And they didn't say that because they're church people. As a matter of fact, 3 of them were non-church goers that I know of, and one of them is an atheist. And what's really interesting is the fact that they would be willing to go to a church that serves the community. And, not to be preachy or anything, but if you're a Christian and you're not serving the community, you're not really doing what you're supposed to be doing. Now, I know that this last weekend was the Super Bowl, and there was a lot of controversy over a commercial with the washing of feet and how Jesus washed people's feet. I don't want to get too much into that, but no matter what side you land on, the point of it is when Jesus washed the feet of the disciples is he was showing that he was being a servant. And that's the whole idea of washing the feet. So being a servant. So that, of course, with Messenger of Hope, that's what we try to do. We try to be a servant to people in need, by providing food. Now, the opposite side of that argument, of course, was, well, why is this Christian organization, these Christians, spending $10 million on a commercial about Jesus? And I understand that side of the argument too. Of course, the argument was, why are they spending $10 million where that money could have gone to the homeless or the poor to take care of them? And I agree completely. It doesn't take a lot to provide, especially when you consider that organizations like Messenger Hope, our budget this year is $96,000. Last year, our budget was $84,000, and we were able to feed about 42,000 people with bags of groceries, which that's pretty amazing when you consider it. That's just absolutely stunning that we were able to do that. That's about $2 a bag of groceries, which if you've been shopping anytime recently, you cannot buy a bag of groceries for $2. As a matter of fact, you'll be lucky to walk out with a bag of groceries for under $50, depending on what you're getting. And, of course, when I go shopping for my family, I do most of the shopping because Brenda works long hours, so I do the shopping during the day when I am free. When I go, it's anywhere between $150 to $300 for a cart of groceries, and I can tell you that cart is not completely full. And then, of course, we try to be wise and, shop at Costco and Publix and Winn-Dixie and Walmart. And we try to do all the different ones, trying to look for the best prices, and not even sure if that's really a good deal when you consider the gas. But we try to be wise with our money, buying BOGO, stuff like that. But it's still really expensive. So the argument is, why spend $10 million on a commercial for the Super Bowl for something that was really just a PR thing, depending on how you want to look at it. So I can see both sides of the argument, and I can tell you, I think that the money probably would have been better spent by taking care of people's needs by serving them. All right, let me get off my soapbox now. That was my little rant there. So I want to talk about this Wesleyan church, that they came out and they did this, and I thought that was amazing. Now, I want to say that there are plenty of churches that work with us, and they do different things. They come at different times. They come in the afternoon when we're out serving. They come on a Saturday. They come during the week and do service hours, or they'll come Sunday night and do service hours, and that's wonderful too. I'm not saying that that's anything less or that that's not as good as what they did, but this, I think, really stood out because it showed we were willing to sacrifice the things that we think are important, and it is important, don't get me wrong, but they were willing to say, hey, we're going to put this aside this week and we're going to go out and serve other people. I don't know what the other 2 organizations were, but I know there was 3 organizations and about 100 people that went out, and I thought that was pretty darn amazing that they did that, and I want to thank that church. Now, if your church comes out and works with us during 2024 and beyond, I will be mentioning you in the podcast because I think that that is important to do. It's not a sponsorship. This is just a way that I want to highlight the people that come out. That's why next week I want to talk about the Scouts and what they did and, the amazing job that they did of the food drive. And if you're interested in finding out about that now, you can look at our Facebook, our TikTok, or even Instagram, and there is a 2 short videos on what's going on, and I'm trying to get the rest of the video clips so we can share that as well. And what a day to talk about this being Valentine's Day and talking about a servant's heart. And really, that's what it's all about, going out and serving people, whether it be the homeless or low income or the elderly or the children. In some way, go out and do something. Now, of course, I talk about Messenger Hope, how we need money, and of course, it probably sounds like I talk about it a lot. It feels like I talk about it a lot. it's a necessary thing that I have to do. I don't always like to talk about collecting money or needing money. I've been doing this for almost 10 years for Messengers of Hope. It'll be 10 years in August, and it's not something that I relish. I don't like to talk about money, and sometimes, when I'm calling somebody on their phone or visiting somebody, my thought is, I wonder if they're going to be like, oh, here's Bob again. He's going to be pumping us for money. Well, understand, even from my side, that's hard for me to do, but I do it because I know how necessary it is. So coming back to what I was saying, it's not about the money. It's about serving people. So you can donate to Messengers of Hope. You can donate to the Humane Society of Tampa Bay. You can donate to Make-A-Wish or whatever organization that you feel is worthy of your money. However, donating is not serving. I mean, it helps. All of these organizations, including Messengers of Hope, need money to come in, but that is not serving. That is donating, and that's a wonderful thing to do, but we need people coming out and working as well. And the funny thing is, a lot of the people that come out and work, they see how important it is, and they become donors. Although that's not the goal is to serve people and take care of people's needs. It is a wonderful thing when people do both, and I just want to encourage you, if you're not giving, to give, and if you're not serving, get out there and serve, whether it be Messengers of Hope or another organization. There's some great organizations out there, and we all need help. We need people coming and serving, and that's a beautiful thing to do. So I want to encourage you to do that today. Speaking about serving, and because I'm too impatient to completely wait for next week, yes, I'm impatient about it, I want to talk a little about the Boy Scout, Cub Scout food drive that was done this past Monday, and how very amazing that was. Now, I'm only going to give you my perspective because I wasn't at it. I just got some pictures and videos, and I got told some stories, and I'm going to give you my side of it. And hopefully next week, like I said, we'll have somebody on here, a couple people on here interviewed to talk about what actually happened and all the details. Now, Monday night, I was contacted by the Scoutmaster of Troop 77. And of course, he and his family are very active in the Scouts, both the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts. You may remember the interview that I had with Jackson Davis. Now, he was the Boy Scout that worked on his Eagle Scout project and got Messengers of Hope, the bus. This is the same Boy Scout troop that was there, Troop 77, and of course Pack 7 of the Cub Scouts were there as well. Now, they did an amazing job, and they collected over 4,500 pounds of food. Further, I was contacted last night that there is more food that has come in since the food drive. So I don't know how much more that is going to be there, but 4,500 pounds of food is no joke. That's a lot of food. It filled up the entire bus. Now, we unloaded the bus yesterday and put it onto tables and pallets, and I took a short video and posted that on Facebook and TikTok if you want to check that out. See what 4,500 pounds worth of food is. Now, that is pretty darn amazing that we got that. So I can't tell you how many people that's going to feed per se, but I can tell you that will give us about 2 weeks worth of food, maybe a little bit less, depending on how many days that we're open that week. Some weeks we're open more days than others, so it really depends. But that is a week or two worth of food, and it is amazing that we got that. It takes that much food to get it done every week. So 4,500 pounds is amazing, and I'm so thankful for the Scouts. And of course, we have other groups that collect food for us too, and I'll share that as time goes on. But I want to thank the Scouts for doing this. It's an amazing thing, and look forward to the interview. We are working hard on trying to find some people to interview next week. When I say working hard, I should say that Dave and Jenny Davis, the parents of Jackson Davis, are working hard to get me people to interview. So I want to thank them in advance. Well, I feel like I've rambled quite a bit in this episode, jumping from topic to topic like a bee on going through a field of flowers. But you know what? Sometimes that's what you have to do to get everything out of your brain. This is stuff that I want to share, and sometimes it's not one cohesive topic that I'm talking about, but multiple. Hopefully next week we'll have one cohesive topic, and I look forward to doing that interview and sharing it next week. So look forward to that episode, and I will catch you guys next week. And please listen to the whole episode. We have a segment in the episode where I talk about our needs, so please listen to that. And if you're interested in sponsoring the Messenger Hope Mission podcast, for just $250, you can sponsor an episode of the podcast. And from now until the end of the month, I will do 2 episodes for $250 for you. So this is the time to get in and get that discounted price, $250 for 2 episodes. That's only $125 per episode. And with that, I'll wish you a happy Valentine's Day, and I hope to see you at a Messenger Hope Mission event, whether it be passing out food or working at our warehouse sorting food. Just get out there and do something. With that, I want to wish you a happy Valentine's Day. Have a great week. Catch you soon. I'd like to take a minute or two to talk about some of the needs that we at Messengers of Hope have. And if you've been listening to the podcast, some of the needs you'll have heard before, such as we need chest freezers. We need a lot of them. We need at least 3 or 4 more. We just got one recently, thanks to Steve and Sally Wallace donating one in honor of Sally's sister who recently passed away. And we're very grateful for that. But that being said, we still need more freezers. We could use, like I said, 3 or 4 more. And the reason for that is because we get a lot of frozen food in and we have a high turnover with frozen food. But oftentimes we'll get stuff from the stores much more than we are capable of holding. And what we've done in the past is we've given it to other pantries. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad that we can do that. But that puts us a little bit behind the 8 ball when that happens, because then we're giving away the food that we could be giving away to people, and we're giving it to other pantries. Often that happens because we just don't have the room for it, not because we don't have the need for the food. Keeping in mind with chest freezers, I do want to say the other thing that, if you've been listening to the podcast I've been talking about, is we want a walk-in freezer. We want one that is big enough so that we can put shelves in it and store things in it that way. One that has a door big enough that we can roll a pallet jack right through and roll it into the freezer itself. If you've been listening to the podcast, you probably heard me talk about that, and I said, it's better than keeping it outside, especially in the summer months. Well, I've had questions on what I meant by that. Well, that simply means when we get the food and we bring it in, when it's really hot outside, it takes us some time to get it into the freezers. So that means that the food is out in the elements, or at least inside the building, where it is hot until we get it in. Now, we get it in the freezer within 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how much we have. But if we had a walk-in freezer, we could roll it right in and then sort it right in the freezer and make sure that everything stays cold the entire time. Please understand when I say this, I'm not saying the food is going bad, but we want to make sure that we take every precaution and keep the food as cold as possible so that nothing ever happens. And I want to talk about our pipe dreams some more. So one of our pipe dreams is to have a forklift. That is something that we really need because our shelves go 12 foot in the air, and right now we're having to hand load everything off of ladders. So one person on the floor, one person on the ladder, one person up on the shelf, and it takes quite a bit of time to do that. If we had a forklift, we could load everything onto a pallet, shrink wrap it, and put it up top in a matter of just seconds versus 45 minutes to an hour of taking it up there, and it's also a lot safer. Now, we have someone that thinks that they might be able to help us to get a forklift, but that still is kind of a long shot. So if you're a praying person, keep that in prayer, or if you have the ability to get us a forklift, we'll be happy to take that as well. And now for the big pipe dream that I want to talk about is we have been talking about potentially having a thrift store. Now, this is not something that anything is set in stone right now. It is just in the thought phases right now, the dreaming phase, if you will. And it's something that we would love to do, but the problem is that would take money to be able to set up, and we're already at the point where we're always right on the cusp of having enough because it takes a lot to run Messengers of Hope and because of everything getting more expensive. We do have periodic garage sales, which do help. However, if we had a thrift store, we could just cancel all the garage sales and go to a thrift store method and have a constant source of income. But this is a pipe dream, something that we're talking about. But if this is something that you have experience in or are able to help us, please contact us. We're willing to listen and talk through ideas. Well, that is some of the Messenger Hope needs for this week. Be sure to listen in on this part of the show every week because it could change. It could be adding things, or it could be taking things away that we've gotten, and we will share it right here. Okay, everyone, this is the point of the podcast where I get to make an appeal to you, the listener. Messengers of Hope is in need of volunteers to come help work at our warehouse. We have jobs as easy as sorting food and toiletries, items like light cleaning all the way up to lifting and stacking of boxes. If you live in the greater Tampa Bay area and want to serve with Messengers of Hope, reach out today. Go to our Facebook page and message us directly. If you're not local or do not have the ability to volunteer at Messengers of Hope Warehouse, you can still make an impact. Messengers of Hope is in need of financial gifts. Donations are tax deductible as Messengers of Hope is a registered 501c3 nonprofit. You can go to our Facebook page and find an online donation portal or get the address and mail us a check. Any amount helps more than you may think. That's going to do it for this week's Messengers of Hope Mission podcast. In the words of Mother Teresa, If you can't feed 100 people, feed just one. This is Bob Gardner reminding you to make a difference in our world today. See you next time right here on the Messengers of Hope Mission podcast.